Welcome back to Juniper Highlands Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to excavate the foundation for a small building using just hand tools. You're really only going to need a few tools for this project. This tool is a square-tipped shovel. It works great for flattening out the bottom of the foundation because you want that to be completely level. If I were using a spear-tipped shovel, I wouldn't be able to get that as flat, so this is really great. You could use a spear-tipped shovel if you wanted to for other parts of the dig, but I'm using other tools for that purpose. The next tool I use is this 2.5 pound mattock. This tool is great for chipping away at packed earth when I get close to the bottom of my foundation. I can chip it away like this and then come in with the flat tip shovel and scoop it up. This is a 16-pound post hole digger. Its weight is really good for stabbing down deep into the soil, and then you can pry it loose. This is a water level. I use this tool as I dig to make sure that I've dug to the correct depth and that the bottom of my excavation is nice and flat. I built this water level for less than $25, and I have a whole other video on how to make one and use it if you're curious. The last thing I would recommend is a great pair of gloves to keep you from getting blisters. As you can see, I've already completed about half of my excavation. Before you begin your project, there are a few things you should consider. The first thing to consider is frost depth. In the winter, when it gets below freezing, the moisture in the soil will freeze down to a certain point. This freezing soil expands. It's called frost heaving, and the forces behind it are so strong it can damage your building to the point where it's not structurally sound anymore. Your frost depth is determined by the climate where you live. You can consult your local building codes to find out exactly how deep your building needs to go underground. In my case, they want my structure to be a minimum of 2 feet below ground. So when I first started this excavation, I dug a hole right here and I measured using the water level to find out that, in fact, I am 2 feet underground. Another important point to consider when planning your project is how level your site is. My site is on a gradual slope, so even though I've dug down 2 feet deep on this end, as we come across the flat bottom, you'll see that this end is actually much more shallow. It's only about 18 inches deep. So if I were to build on this as it is right now, I could end up with frost heaving on that end of the building. So at this point, that end of the excavation is not down to the required depth. However, what I'm doing here is a little bit different from traditional building here in the Southwest. Normally, you would simply dig a trench down to the required level all the way around the perimeter. You'd put in a footer and a stem wall, and your floor would run across just a little bit above ground level. But in this case, I'm actually sinking the entire structure into the earth, and this is going to be the level of the floor right here. Then I'm going to dig a 1-foot trench along the perimeter, and that's going to serve as my footer for my stem wall. And that brings my total depth at this end of the building to 3 feet, and this end will be to 2.5 feet, which is well beyond the requirements for my area. All right, so let's get digging. The first thing I'm going to do is remove the first 5 to 6 inches of topsoil with this flat tip shovel. Topsoil is usually pretty easy to excavate. All you have to do is scoop in and pull away. However, when you get below the topsoil, you reach compacted subsoil, which is totally different. And instead of digging in and pulling away, we're actually going to wedge from the top and then pull to the side. My tool of choice for this technique is the 16-pound post hole digger. This tool is really heavy, so it's important that you let the tool do the work, otherwise you'll get exhausted very quickly. What I do is I come a few inches back from the edge, I pick up the tool and then drop it into the earth, and then I use it to pry out. Then I go down again and pull it out again, and then just go straight across, pulling out the soil as you go. This is a really effective way to get through the subsoil very quickly. to show you from a different angle, I just come 3 or 4 inches back from the edge, pick up the tool, drop it in, then pry away. Then it's really easy to come in with the shovel and just scoop away what you've broken off. Once you've removed all the loosened material, you just come back with the post hole digger and repeat the whole process over again. I'm getting pretty close to the depth I'm looking for, so I'm going to stop now and use the water level to check to see how close I actually am. I'm going to put 1 post on the initial point that's known. I know that's 2 feet below the surface level, and I'm going to compare that point to where I've just excavated. This post here is giving me about 13.5 inches, and this post here is giving me 15.5. That tells me there's 2 more inches to dig down. But instead of using the post hole digger, I'm going to move on to using the mattock. This allows me to have a little bit more accuracy, and I can swing low and scrape off just a little bit of soil and then check to see where I'm at. That way I don't go too far. This is where the flat tip shovel comes in really handy, because it can shave off just a little bit of material if you're looking for a small correction. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.